There's been a massive increase in sexual assaults over the last number of years in Wexford and all over Ireland. So have you ever experienced any type of sexual assault in your life?
Yeah, I have. I experienced sexual assault and rape back in 2017.
Okay, and so then did you report the incident after it happened, or incidents after they happened?
So I actually only reported it last February, just because I kind of had a feeling that it was my fault, and I feel like people going through school and at young ages, they're not really educated when it comes to consent and everything really, so I was kind of uneducated myself, and it only came to light last year, so I decided to bite the bullet and make the report with the police.
I have, but a long time ago, over 10 years ago, and it was at a time when it wasn't really talked about like it is today, and I did end up going through the proper procedures and reporting it, but it was very, very difficult to do at the time, and there wasn't huge support. I even found it hard. I didn't really discuss it with family, one or two friends maybe, so I just think it's really important for people to start talking about it normally now.
Have you yourself ever been a victim of a sexual assault?
No.
No, not myself, no.
I would say no.
I have, when I was really young, when I was 14, something happened and it wasn't very nice, but recently, especially I'm in Dublin, so it's a big city, and I could be just walking on the street and catcalled and stuff like that, and then mostly just men, they don't have any problem putting their hands on me, and I'm not comfortable with that, and no one I think would be comfortable with that, and it's something that shouldn't happen. It's my body, no one is allowed to touch me, and people don't understand that. Unfortunately, some people just don't understand that. So
no, I haven't. No, I'm not that I'm saying that I'm streetwise, but I kind of know how to get through the roads. I've lived in New York, I've lived in LA, I've lived in London. It's never happened to me.
No, I haven't. No, some friends of mine, all right, have been spiked, their drink spiked, but nothing happened locally, but they've had experience of that, yeah.
No, I haven't, thank God, and I don't really know of anyone that has, but I've heard it, on the news and places like that, so I know it is very prevalent in Wexford especially, and all over Ireland. And
then can I just ask you then, how has that incident or incidents affected your life since it happened?
So it's affected it massively, really. I was a virgin when it happened, so obviously, it was quite a traumatic experience. It's affected me as an adult all the way through school. It hasn't been great at all.
I think I think I suffered a bit of PTSD with it, although it was undiagnosed. At that particular time, I never said to anyone I'm suffering mentally, but I was suffering with it. I was able to get up and go to my job and do whatever I needed to be done, but I just bottled it and I buried it for a long time.
Or what do you think is kind of behind this massive increase in sexual assaults? You're just your own opinion.
Yeah, I think personally it's the anger or the testosterone in men, when they get told no, I don't know why it's kind of to strangers or to whatever. I don't understand why people are doing it. They're young girls. It only happened to someone I know, last week, and they're only in college. It just kind of came up out of the blue. She didn't know the man, so I don't know how we can prevent it, or why people are just the way they are. I really don't know, but it's heartbreaking. Yeah.
What are your thoughts, and what might be driving this rise in sexual assaults? Because women are mostly the victims. Women and young girls are mostly the victims.
I suppose maybe the increase in dating apps, people meeting strangers that they don't know or have no connections, no mutual friends, nothing. So they might be maybe putting themselves in a situation that's dangerous and not realising it.
I think a lack of information is probably the main cause, kind of an ignorance among society, and people might not fully understand the impact of their actions, or they brush it away to be a joke. If everyone really knew how serious it is and they knew the implications, they'd act more consciously on it. I think if people are more educated.
I think that there's a lot of underreporting. I wouldn't say it's jumped that much, I'd say, in the last 3 years. I believe that there's an awful lot of underreporting, and I think a lot of the reasons that things are underreported is that women in particular feel that they're not being believed. So and then once things go to, nobody wants to have to go through a court case, and what's going on at the moment, the Aisling Murphy trial, is particularly terrifying. Who would want to put their family through that? Obviously that Ashling Murphy was murdered. But it's similarly, if somebody is seriously sexually assaulted, yeah, it's putting your family through it. And then the penalties are not what I think they should be. But then again, I'm not a member of the judiciary, so I don't make the laws, you know. But I would like to see them implemented.
I just think, personally, like, we don't know who's walking around the streets anymore. Like, there was a time where you could see and say hello to everyone, you knew everyone, but now you could look and you look at someone, you're like, who are you? Because, you know, the way you just don't know who's around anymore. You know your own local communities, but I suppose it's just population is increasing. But I think it's very scary though, like walking around, and especially as like a young girl, like you really have to look out for yourself.
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, but there's a lot on social media, like maybe a lot of like pornographic material that people are watching, like, and maybe that's encouraging them to offend like that, you know. But yeah, I definitely think that has a lot to do with it, whatever they see on social media, and just a lot of drinking, drugs as well.
Well, I haven't really actually thought about it because I don't know myself or anyone who's been affected by it, but I'm guessing alcohol, drugs, all the kind of the usual things are bringing out some of the worst things in people at the moment.
Given the increase in these assaults, what do you think could be done to alleviate this, to bring these numbers back down again?
Well, looking at the case that's going on in the High Court at the moment, maybe there needs to be more robust back information done on foreigners coming into the countries.
I think there needs to be more security around the streets. Like, I know, like, there's not like even the guards and stuff, like, I know they have their own stuff to be doing, but even like in Dublin you don't see the guards around that much. Even Wexford Town, the streets, there's like not a whole lot of guards around. I feel like if there's more security and pinpoints and people watching out for each other more often, and if it was more known that people aren't comfortable with it, maybe people would be more inclined to stand up for each other. But I think there needs to be more security and more protection for everyone, women and everyone really.
There needs to be enforcement of the law, stricter penalties, no revolving door prisons, no suspended sentences, and you know, and if there's I noticed a few more terrifying stories of things happening in public areas. Like, the majority of sexual assaults are happening between people who know each other and within familial situations. But ones that are random, there needs to be more boots on the street, keeping an eye, and more like better lit areas, and you know, and everybody can say women have to look, and women do have to be proactive about it. And I'm not saying that's right, but we do.
More education probably around it, especially in schools, starting younger, to make them aware of this. More police force been available, more helplines. I know the Rape Crisis Centre is a big, probably always at a bit of a disadvantage, not having not enough counsellors and supporters and things like that. So probably a lot more education around that as well. Yeah.
Do you have any advice, you know, after living through something like that, for other young girls, you know, if they have to live through it, or maybe even try to prevent it, you know, if there's anything that they could do?
Yeah, so number one, I suppose, stick up for yourself. Like, realise you're stronger than you think. Educate yourself on consent, like boys and girls. And just know that if it does happen to you, it's not your fault, and everything will work out in the end. Like, you will be fine.
I would say to get a counselling or therapist session booked in ASAP. Before all of that, make sure you do go to the police, get it reported, get yourself checked out. If there's this is going into lots of nitty gritty, but if there's a memory lapse, or you were drunk, or there were drugs involved, don't be ashamed. You know, you remember what you remembered. Go and do all the necessary checks, go through the proper procedures, and continuing with counsel for, I'm not a counsellor, but for at least 6 months plus after it. You know, it's a huge trauma, regardless of what way it happens. Even if it is with someone that, you know, that is a loving partner, etc. I think this can make it very, very difficult, especially.